Now, in June 2012, our next guest and her husband were celebrating the birth of their first child. Tragedy soon struck when Norma Rowan's father-in-law lost his life in a farm accident. Norma's new baby, Julie, was just 6 days old at the time.
Norma and her husband Brian set up Embrace Farm to help families just like their own. Norma, you're very welcome to the show.
Welcome,
so your baby was 6 days old. The public health nurse had just come. Brian, your husband, and your father-in-law Liam, they were putting a to-do list together. What happened after that?
Yeah, so as usual, Liam would have come in and they would have decided, OK, what's on the plan for the day? And Brian had mentioned they needed to do something with this rake. Liam, being the man that he was, everything had to be done right or not do it at all.
What age was Liam now?
72.
OK, but he was
a very fit
man.
Very active man,
yeah.
So a rake, which is what, when you're driving countryside, you see all the lines of silage to be picked up. So a rake puts that together. One of the arms just wasn't that bit straight, so he decided he needed to straighten it, take it off and straighten it. So Brian said to him, listen, we've the public health nurse this morning. I was only home from hospital a day. He said, wait till after dinner and we'll do it then. But Liam and my brother-in-law, they went at it anyway. While he was taking it apart, it came away a bit quicker than what he expected and it hit him on the side of the head. So this was all unbeknownst to us. The public health nurse had left. I'd had a caesarean section, so my mother-in-law was doing the dinners. So when that was all finished, Brian said he'd go next door for the dinners, as we saw his dad and his brother walking up. By the time he had gone up, Liam had started to go into shock from his injury, from his brain injury. So things happened pretty quickly after that. The ambulance service arrived and they're brilliant people. They come and they calm the situation straight away and take over. They took Liam to Tullamore Hospital and he was scanned, and the scans went to Beaumont and the news came back from there that there was nothing that could be done. So he was placed in life support for 3 days until the machines were switched off. But as that was happening, Brian was getting that news. He had 2 sisters at either side of the country that needed to be contacted. And we also had a herd of dairy cows out the back that needed to be milked. So one was as important as another because animals don't understand that things have to stop. So
what do you do then?
He was trying to contact his sisters and contact neighbours to come and milk the cows because the family were obviously called into the hospital. Yeah, so we went through the few days while he was in hospital and then the funeral. So we went through the normal grief, and the friends and neighbours, they were a great help. They came, they rallied around, they helped, they did everything. But we were 12, 18 months down the road and there's a big window out of my kitchen and I can see down the yard and I'd see Brian coming up in the evenings. He was like somebody who just had the weight of the world on his shoulders. As I say, he was stuck in his grief.
He was,
Yeah, he wasn't going anywhere with it.
Because he had to keep going with the farm side of things.
He had to, he had no choice
but to. No time to grieve nearly.
So he came in one Monday at lunchtime. Dinner time on the farm is 1:30. So I was sat at the laptop and he says to me, would I Google support for families following a suicide? And my initial reaction was to panic and go, what's this about? Why do I need to do this? And all the rest. He goes, just do it. And I did. And he says, what does it say? And I said, it brings up all these great organisations. And I started selling them, you know, Pieta House and the Samaritans and awareness where that you can ring up and you can talk to them and they can help you. And he says, now Google support for families following a farm accident. And I did. And as a counsellor said to us afterwards, like, you know, we broke Google. Google couldn't answer it. All that we could get was something about animal health on a website.
And this is what led you then to create something, a help organisation, Embrace Farm.
Yeah, we went looking for something. We made a lot of phone calls. We started with the investigator of the Health and Safety Authority. We went from there to the department, to all the other charities that they know somewhere. I rang the ICA. Nobody knew of anything.
But you knew what you wanted to create. How did you go about it then?
So, yeah, that's it. And we decided, OK, let's stop looking for something and do a remembrance service. Each year, the Health and Safety Authority, they put out their numbers, how many people are killed each year. And, you know, to the families,
what are the numbers?
It's more. There's 22 on average every year are killed with over 2,000 accidents.
It is peculiar that there hasn't been a service before this, though. It is very peculiar that there hasn't been a service like this before, particularly with the agricultural background that we have.
Yeah, but those numbers to the families, they're a person, they're a dad, they're a brother, they're a child.
And you know the thing is, as you said there about your husband, the reality is when somebody on the farm that's a part and parcel of running this organisation for so many years, and farm people are very close, farmers are very close, it's a loss, not just a family member, but a loss to the farm, a loss to the business, a loss to everything, and it stands still. We're showing a lovely
That's our
photo
very
here.
first year, 2014.
And where is the church here now?
Abbeyleix in County Laois.
Beautiful,
It's the
isn't it?
last
Yeah.
Sunday in June every year. The service meant an awful lot to people. You know, there was one lady there, she was 91 years of age. She'd lost her husband nearly 50 years ago. And when Brian met her after the service, he says to her, well, what did you think of that? And she said, you know, this is the very first time that I've publicly acknowledged my husband in a farm accident.
50 years
And she
on.
went off with her candle.
And that's where show that candle, as you were
Yeah.
chatting there. It's a beautiful candle. And some of them want two because they want to keep one, don't they? They don't want to
they're
light
afraid
it.
to
light
burn it.
yeah.
You know, the candles are generously donated by Barama Candles in Carlow every year, and we give them to families, and they get so much from them. You know, they tell us they're afraid to burn them, so we give them a second one so they can burn.
But it's great for them to have a contact point like you, some place to go, because as you just explained there, when it happened to Liam, what do? Life goes on in one sense. The cows have to be milked, and people have to be brought together. And when all this is happening, people don't know what to do.
No, well, farming people are very resilient people. That's their life, their way of life.
They're
They
tough.
just get on with things. They have no choice but to, because the animals
But
are
they have
waiting.
to grieve as well then. That's very, very important,
Yeah,
isn't it?
and especially for young widows. They may be left with young children then as well. So they're trying to look after the practicalities of the farm and look after their children and make sure they're doing okay with the loss of their dad or whoever it may be. And they can find themselves 2 and 3 years down the road, and
It's
then
almost
they're
like
starting
delayed
to
shock.
grieve.
Yeah. You managed, or your husband managed, to get some very, very well-known sports people to back you. And we see them here, Sean O'Brien amongst them, the whole lot. It's
John Hayes.
amazing.
Yeah. Again, country people, you know, you always know somebody who knows somebody, and he got a phone number for Sean O'Brien one day, and he just rang up Sean and told him the story.
Yeah, and he's from a farming background.
He is,
so,
yeah.
All
And
the
Sean
lads
was-
are actually, I think, John
They
Hayes
are,
as
yeah.
well.
John Hayes, yeah.
And Rory
Sean
Best.
gave a very positive reaction. Brian asked him to know would he ask Rory Best to support us. So Sean and Rory had a conversation, and Sean texted Brian with Rory's number, and Brian picked up the phone and rang him. And John Hayes is just a gentleman.
Yeah, we had him on here recently. He's a lovely guy.
What a nice guy.
Yeah.
Now, you have a big day
Absolutely
coming
lovely
up on the 24th of June.
The 24th of June is the National Remembrance Service for those killed and seriously injured in farming accidents. It's on in Abbeyleix, County Laois, 2 o'clock. Everybody is welcome. Anyone who wants to support those in the farming community are very welcome to attend on the day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for
thank you
coming
very
in.
much for coming
Brilliant.
in.
Well done.
No, for more information, and if you'd like to contact Embrace Farm, you can phone 085 770 9966. You can also email embrace.farm@gmail.com.
Yeah, we'll put them on our Facebook page
Certainly
there
will.
because a lot to take in there. Now, it's just after 5. Pop onto our Facebook page. You will have a live with country music legend Declan Nerney.
Yes, he'll be in for a chat and performance as well. We're looking forward to that.
Yes, after the break, we're also going to be talking to a woman who has fostered more than 150 children. We'll see you very soon.